we just... where the fuck are you? What the fuck is that? That is one giant whoop.
Let's fucking go.
Want to do some cocaine?
Hey, cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching
They
powder?
know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupted?
Even Forrest Bump.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes! But I can't.
What was that?
It was
We
a
just
big a huge the biggest I've ever seen.
shut the fuck up.
Okay.
We just saw Deadpool and Wolverine.
That was perfect.
It's about Deadpool trying to save the people that he cares about in his world. His world.
Yep.
Which are a lot of his family and friends from the previous Deadpool 1 and 2 movies.
It's a Marvel action movie. It's what you would expect from a Marvel action movie with Disney being a big budget.
Straight up comic book.
Straight up comic book.
Don't think you could get any more comic book than Deadpool. So
No.
that's basically what you're getting. Definitely might recommend keeping the children home because it's Deadpool. A
You
lot of
definitely
people
need
don't.
to keep the children home.
Mm-hmm.
Need to keep the children home because it's just like any other Deadpool you've seen in the past. They didn't change the character whatsoever. Same exact Deadpool.
Yep. Yep. I would argue this one is a little worse just to make Disney sweat.
Completely. So Ryan Reynolds does not hold back in this movie at all.
Neither does Hugh Jackman.
Because it's been how long since the last movie? Like 7, 8 years?
6 years. I think 2018 was Deadpool
6 years.
2. I think.
And this movie is just full of just Ryan Reynolds just fourth walling, didn't give a fuck, making very real life today in the real world jokes about Disney and about Fox and about the movie and about the characters and the actors playing the characters. Just breaks the fourth wall the entire movie.
Speaking of characters, who are the characters, Andy?
Deadpool
Is
played by Ryan Gosling, and I think that's Ryan Gosling.
Ryan
right?
Gosling,
Yeah,
Ryan
Ryan Gosling. Ryan Reynolds, rap, and Hugh Jackman plays Wolverine. And that is the extent of my knowledge.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
pretty good.
Appreciate it.
That's pretty much all people really need to know in the spoiler-free section. It's Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman.
I will say there's a lot of cameos in this movie.
Lots of cameos.
There
This
are
is
cameos.
cameo of the movie.
There's also not cameos of certain characters in this movie too. Ryan Reynolds definitely makes sure he points that out and makes fun of the Disney budget and the budget for the movie for
he
it.
does, yeah.
Which were funny moments. But so for me, I don't have the strongest background knowledge on the Deadpool world, and so when like cameos happen, I had no idea who these people were. I can't remember for the life of me these movies at all.
So I would say definitely not a general audience movie. It's made for the people who know about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who know about the Fox superhero movies, and have kept up with a lot of that.
That's a good point. I would think like if you want to bring somebody to this movie that hasn't seen the Deadpool universe, even if they've seen Marvel, I think you need to take them back to see the Deadpool universe before you go see this movie, for this movie to make more sense and kind of have some more meaningful moments in the movie for you.
I don't think you have to have watched... I don't think you really have to have watched anything other than that, but you do need to be aware of Marvel characters.
You could be aware of the X-Men if you wanted to.
Definitely the X-Men.
I would say, if anything,
and the Avengers.
Just focus on the Logan movie, because they really hone in on just that movie. They don't really hone in on the X-Men part of it so much.
That's a great point, yeah. So, Andy, as a would you call yourself a non-comic book movie person?
I'm a non-comic book movie person.
How do you think, but you've seen MCU movies.
I saw them when they first started off, and then they got so saturated I got lost, and I couldn't even be bothered to continue watching them. I'm guessing a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah.
But I know the gist of the Marvel universe, the way Disney likes to do it. Very well done every single time. Just banger movies. This stands up right with them. I would put it towards even the topper end of those Marvel movies.
I would say to somebody who has been watching Marvel movies like I have, it's better than what's been out recently for them.
I agree.
It's a lot better than what's been out recently. And I think, well, I guess this might be a better question for you. Does it make you want to go see other Marvel movies?
It makes me want to go see that one again, actually.
Right.
But actually, I now want to go back and see the Deadpool world because I vaguely remember those movies, and I want to go back to understand this movie just a little bit better. But yeah, so.
I definitely wouldn't mind seeing it again. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Comedy, comic book, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman.
Exactly.
That's it. That's really all you need to know. So,
if you watch too their interviews together, you see like the
Oh,
friendship
yeah.
those two have, and even the interviews are just hilarious. So just imagine this movie where they can just do multiple takes
Yep.
of just doing random stuff together.
Yep.
It's hilarious.
So, kind of fun facts about the production.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't know, I think most people understand that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have been friends for a long, long, long
I
time. at
learned this
point.
today.
They have been they have this like kind of play back and forth fight with each other all the time. They've done commercials together. They've always send each other like hilarious birthday videos and like just go off on each other. So to see them come together and have that same relationship in the movie is awesome. Recommendation time.
What do you think? Recommend or not recommend?
Hard recommend.
Hard
Hard recommend.
Very. Jesus Christ. You don't have to recommend that much. Okay, so that's 3 thumbs up from Nick. I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up from me. I definitely recommend you go see this movie. I will emphasize that you do go see the previous Deadpools before watching this one. I think it'll be
A little bit of research will go a long way.
worth
It'll
it.
still be funny whether or not you don't.
Yeah.
But it'll be a lot funnier if you do. You'll understand a lot more. But more importantly, this is our first recommendation where we're on the same page.
Yeah. Sweet.
All right. Your hands were gross. Okay. I did not like that. Uh-oh.
They're a little clammy. It's the
let's
condensation
let's
from the
do-
Diet Pepsi. There
That's
you go.
better.
Yeah.
No more of that. So at the end of the spoiler section, we'll give you a numbered review
Yes.
and the reasoning behind that review. So we're going to transition into the spoiler section. Transitioning.
Spoiler section.
Transitioning.
You keep transitioning. If you don't want spoilers, like and subscribe right now. We'll see you later. We'll see you in the next video. I don't know what we're going to see next. But here comes the spoiler section. There was your warning. You had plenty of time. Let's move on.
All right. So now we can
Did
actually
you
talk
know-
about the movie.
By the way, I didn't know if I should put this in spoilers, or not. But Hugh Jackman's arms when he's sleeveless, that's all CGI.
Really?
Yeah, because they had the sleeves on the entire movie, and the audience, kind of like the title, was just like, "That's dumb as fuck. He's Wolverine. He's
Well,
sleeveless."
that makes sense because he's very sweaty.
Yes.
He's very sweaty throughout the whole movie. But they did CG the cowl on too. His Wolverine
That was CG.
in some of the scenes. Yeah,
I
it
didn't realize
doesn't fit quite right. And there's actually like trailer footage of him doing some of those scenes without it on. And it'd be much easier to just digitally put it on. I think that's a fan thing too, because everybody's wanted to see.
Apparently
him
they
in-
did. I
in
didn't.
that helmet.
So, yeah, because since I was aware of the CG arms, I couldn't help but fucking notice that like these were moving kind of like pretty like seamlessly, too fluid, while his body was jerky or not moving at all. I'm like, it's they just took it, lifted up, and I was like,
I mean, that would make sense.
threw me off but I was aware of it and looking for it. Now I just fucked you. Now you're gonna look at it and be aware of it. Overall, they did a great job, but like there's still moments that
it was probably it'll probably look better when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Oh, that's true. They can still keep making some edits to it.
Touch up.
Yeah.
But I do know he wanted to wear the suit with the long sleeve, partially because he's getting up there in age and he didn't want to be ripped all the time and do his god awful diet that he has to do to keep his veins from
the whole
like
thing.
popping out and doing the whole thing.
That's fair.
The scene at the end though, when his
when
shirt flies off, holy shit, huge jacked man.
I was like, those were some cum gutters.
Holy shit, god damn! And luckily they do that in the movie too, like fuck.
Yeah.
And then one of the ladies like, finally.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would have been funny if they, like, for these movies, if they had a camera facing the audience, because I think the audience's interaction throughout this whole movie was equally as entertaining.
Yes.
People were cheering during moments, laughing, maybe crying during some moments. There were some tearful moments, but the interactions was constantly entertaining. Like, everyone was very into this movie in that theater.
It lends itself to doing that. Normally, I don't like that stuff in the theaters, but you can tell, like, they were kind of wanting it to happen and kind of nudging people along to do it with those fourth wall breaks and just staring right at the screen and waiting for reactions. You can tell it's like built in and baked into the movie.
Yeah, they definitely predicted how the audience was going to act to it, and they didn't do it in a cringe way at all. Like, they nailed it.
I'm so glad that Marvel and Disney let them do what they do best.
Yeah.
And we got to see the first MCU R-rated movie, and it was a banger. It was so good.
Nailed it. I didn't know that was the first R-rated one.
First MCU, not first Marvel. So there's a lot of cameos in this movie.
It's constant cameos the whole time. Yeah.
So you get Chris Evans as the Human Torch, which kind of throws everybody for a loop because you think he's going to be Captain America in the movie. He's not. Human Torch. You get a bunch of X-Men bad guys that kind of surround him. Sabretooth, Toad. You get Juggernaut. The whole
original actors and actresses and of the X-Men as well, which was just a nice throwback to me. I just felt like I went back into like middle school or something.
It was pretty crazy. And then later on, you get a little bit more stable cameos. They team up against the bad guy, who is Cassandra Nova, which is Professor X's twin sister. And the story is she got pruned by the TVA when she was little and kind of just lives on that.
Yeah, they thought she was too powerful and like wasn't really like controlling her powers properly, so they just banished her pretty much.
So people either work for her or they get eaten by the cloud monster from Loki. Yeah. And then they're just gone and dead forever.
She exiles them, essentially. Which I don't quite understand how she doesn't get eaten by this monster and how she protects them unless she's powerful enough to, like...
Maybe.
They didn't really show that part, so we just have to assume that she's too powerful.
I think that's all that we can assume.
Yeah.
Is that she protects them somehow with her telepathic powers. So Wolverine and Deadpool, they escape her, and they meet up with 4 main cameo characters who stick around for a bit longer than just like a flash on the screen.
Yeah.
You get Daphne Keane, who plays X-23, who was the girl in Logan.
I'm just surprised you knew the name. Okay, yeah.
So
I'm so bad with names, and you're so good with it. So that works for these videos.
And then you get Jennifer Garner as Elektra, which was awesome. And then they had Blade, who was technically the first Marvel character, but his movies were back in like the mid '90s to early 2000s. So Blade was even before X-Men. He's a vampire. And he was played by Wesley Snipes, which it was super awesome to see him as Blade again. It was
so hilarious,
cool.
too.
Yeah. it was awesome. And he had a couple digs about being the only Blade, which is funny because there's a new Blade movie coming out, and obviously they've recast it. And then the one that I really didn't expect out
My
of him,
favorite.
which was Channing Tatum as Gambit
Hell
coming
yeah.
out, and he had so many like just one-liners about his movie that never got made and his universe that he never got to save and bad guys he never
I
got to
fucking
kill.
loved his character because like his accent was so shit, and Ryan Reynolds makes fun of him in real life in this movie of his accent, and we're trying to debate if his accent truly is that shit or he's purposely being shit. We really don't know.
I hope he's purposely
I
being
hope he's
shit.
purposely being shit as
Yeah,
well.
because it was
like-
not good at all.
Who's your acting coach? A minion?
I mean, you could not understand what he was saying hardly. It was really, really funny. So all of them team up together and they go back to fight the bad guy so that they can get back to their dimension.
Yeah.
It ends up working out, and one thing that all the characters keep saying is like, we finally get an ending. We finally get an ending for our characters, which they do. They get badass moments fighting in this scene, and we kind of get to say like, that was really cool. You guys finally get to end on a high note.
Yeah.
And I will say this whole movie seems like it is a love letter to those early mid-1990s, early 2000s superhero movies that tried to do what Marvel ultimately ended up doing, but then kind of got forgotten about on the side. So
That's a great way
ending
to
that
put it.
era
That's exactly
and
what it is. It's a love letter to
coming
the
back.
fans as well.
love letter to the fans, lots and lots of fan service in this movie.
If you know your research and know your like MCM and Marvel world and
Yeah.
universe and also the background behind these movies and castings, like you're gonna absolutely love this movie, and it's
Yep.
gonna be your favorite movie in the world. I bet it's so
it was really
detailed
cool.
like that.
And then after you see all these cool people, lo and behold, you get back to Deadpool's universe, and there's a shit ton of Deadpools.
Yeah.
And I think one of them was Matthew McConaughey. I think the cowboy one. I recognize the voice. I would have to watch it again to see the credits
They
went
did
by
the
really
credits
fast.
and they listed every Deadpool.
They did. And so I'm hoping. I think.
Because I would
Maybe.
bet you there's some Easter eggs in those.
Oh yeah,
in
for
those,
sure.
For sure.
Well,
I tried to catch it, but
I think Lady Deadpool is probably Blake Lively, which is Ryan Reynolds' wife. I think that might be
okay.
her. And I would suspect that Nolan North is in there somewhere. So he's a prominent voice actor. He played Ghost in Destiny, but he is like the animated voice actor for Deadpool, and he's been the voice actor for Deadpool in like the Deadpool games and stuff like that. So I
see.
assume he's in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Maybe not. I don't know, but
as
I would
I
like to
watched
see
this
that.
movie too, because of the mask and everything, so you can do so many fun things that like no one will really ever know, and I think they took advantage of that.
That's gonna be one of those things like the end of Endgame where you have all these characters and people like you have to pause the frame to just look at everything.
I would imagine too the different costumes. Some of them had unique costumes, or like some sort of relation to that his comic book or something. Like there has to be meaning behind.
Well,
them.
there is all those variants in different comic books, and Deadpool's fought himself many different times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if the multiverse actually existed in his comic books or not. Because for me, I want to talk about the multiverse.
Okay.
They make fun of it in this movie, saying like, "Oh my god, fuck that! Can we be done with the multiverse shit?" And yes, please be done with the multiverse shit. Like, even in the beginning, I never cared for it because I was like, this is just a cop-out excuse for like, and they did it. If somebody dies, you just find them in a different multiverse, and I'm just like, it makes me feel less attached to these characters because it feels like it's just like they're expendable. It's like, oh, just bring in another Wolverine.
I agree.
Which they did it cleverly to at least, to reincarnate Wolverine in this case. But leave it at that. I did not care to see multiple Deadpools and them fighting each other. Like I'm guessing maybe the fans understand the history and behind that and care about it. But as a general movie watcher, I did not like it. It was boring.
I feel like that in order for it to be the end of the multiverse, Marvel just had to like go out and give all that stuff, because that's kind of what the multiverse has been. It's just a whole bunch of fan service. Been like, oh, here's this character that fans really wanted to be this character. You can see him for 2 seconds, and isn't that great? Isn't that cool? But they relied too heavily on those, and it didn't quite carry the movie. I think Spider-Man: No Way Home did it the best. Doctor Strange was pretty good, but it wasn't as good as Spider-Man. And anytime they've tried to go beyond that, it's been really hard to follow and to keep up. And I think it's really brought down the MCU as a whole. So to see them say like, okay guys, this is the last time, I promise. It's the last time, we'll get it through, was refreshing to see, to know that we're in, a different phase. And I think this is a time for them to regroup and finally bring the X-Men in. Everybody loves the X-Men. Let's get some X-Men movies on the board. Let's get them into the MCU and just
That makes
flesh
sense,
it
because
out.
I like the nostalgia, especially if you can manage to get the original actors for some of these roles. If not all of them would be cool, but
I think the plan is to recast for
probably
most.
because you want to do a longevity thing.
Even Hugh Jackman, I don't think they're gonna.
No,
keep
it
him.
sounded like, and he like just told the audience in the movie, it's just like, hey, you're not gonna see me again.
It's a fun movie. It was really cool to see them pull it off.
I think they ended Hugh Jackman's life as Wolverine in like the better way than like they did in like Logan, where they just killed him off.
I think Logan was a good emotional send off, but this was kind of to clean up those things that everybody's like, oh, I wish I could see him in the yellow suit. Oh, I wish he had the cowl on. Oh, like, come on, just do one more to do those things.
That's fair.
I think ultimately, that's why he did it. I don't think we're going to see any more of him in that, and it'll finally settle. I do think Deadpool is going to be in the Marvel universe from now
completely.
on.
Because right now it seems like he kind of just semi-soft retired after like that whole like fight, and he survived it. Because they just kind of went back to their normal lives, as if like, okay, I did the thing I really wanted to do in life. Now let's focus on like my relationships and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a time where it's just like, hey, you did that really cool thing. It's the Avengers.
Exactly.
We're going to call you up and you're going to join Spider-Man and whatnot, which I think is going to be a refresher for me.
If they do a Deadpool, so Deadpool in the comics loves Spider-Man. Like fucking love. He's Spider-Man's biggest fanboy.
Oh, really?
That would be a really cool thing to see.
That was a good example I brought up then.
Really good example you brought up.
Oh, well, he didn't know to it. Like, he was, yeah. Maybe that's why I thought
that'd be really fun to see. And if it was like still like a PG-13 movie and he like couldn't swear and stuff, that would be kind of funny to see Ryan Reynolds try and do without.
He has to like use different languages, like, "Oh, you rabbit hopper," like I don't know what you'd say.
That would be cool. There's an end credit scene, obviously. I won't spoil it for people, but during the credits, they had this really cool thing where
It's
they played a bunch of
section, but I think you're right.
They played a bunch of bloopers.
Spoiler free still.
Yeah.
The credit section in the end. Watch all the way to the end of the movie too. But just fantastic. One of my favorite parts of the movie, I think.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Just that.
They had a whole bunch of bloopers and cuts from all the old movies, like all the X-Men movies, from Fantastic Four. I don't think they had anything from like Blade, but they had some Elektra.
Because you watch like a 2-hour movie of just like making fun of like the different worlds and Fox and all that stuff, and it was almost like they gave you like a couple minutes where it's just like, all kidding aside, really cool stuff. Here's some nostalgia, and it did show the original Fox 21st century Fox logo at the end, which is the first time that they're like, all kidding aside, you did a great job.
Exactly. It was really earnest and really thoughtful.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. I think a lot of the fans like that a lot, because like everyone was just silent, just like really enjoying that part.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna give our ratings for the movie now that we've talked about it a little bit and you kind of see what we were going for. We're going to do it out of 10, and then ultimately we will combine those scores and give a channel recommendation as a whole. So I'm going to start this time. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it was a really good movie. I think it was fun to see. It wasn't perfect But it's a good action movie, comedy, fun time, especially if you love Deadpool and Wolverine and all of the Marvel characters that have been in movies thus far. The villain kind of dropped it down a little bit.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, that's the only
That's
reason
really
I'm dropping
it.
it. And yeah, the whole setup of the villain is just...
The villain, and for people having to have prior knowledge.
That's fair.
I think
that's a fair argument.
That's fair. So
yeah.
8 out of 10, fantastic movie. I don't know if I could go higher than that, but I could. It could just be a me thing. I don't know.
You know, to be fair, I might bring it down to 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Because if the audience didn't react the way they reacted in the movie, I wouldn't even be aware that that was a no to something or that was a cameo or anything like that. Like, that only helped me realize, oh, this is a special moment because of the audience. If the audience wasn't there, I would have no idea. It would just be a solid movie overall, as Marvel movies are. I'll go 8 out of 10. We both recommend it, and we're both 8 out of 10 on
Both
this
recommend 8 out of 10. Go see it. Probably go see it again.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And comment. And
Share.
share. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Oh, I just
In the fucking car.